third round action in the Deutsche Bank SAP Open TPC of Europe.
Well, let's go to Darren Clarke, 16th, trying to finish in some style. Very Clarke-esque finish, that. Cut off, punched, and pushed.
This is not actually a difficult bunker shot. It's on an upslope. It's one of those ones he'd be looking to I promise you, to almost hold it. Oh, God. Good Lord. Couldn't have been further away from the truth. Well, that is just... There's nothing to say.
Where is it?
Well, he sent it straight across the other side. There's out of bounds. I think it's gone straight into a hazard.
It's a shot Darren has never ever felt comfortable with. Bunker shots, and if you look at the way he played that, he was so square, his feet were actually shut, when really it needed was the body open and the loft increased in the club, because the ball didn't have to travel a long way. Not surprised he's got the ball first from that address position. It's a part of his game he's tried so hard to improve too. But just have a look at his feet. He drew a line across his toe line there. If anything, it's right of the target. Look how square he is there as he hits the ball. You'd really need the body opening right out so you can weaken the club face and use the back edge of the sand wedge. An astonishing mistake for a player of his quality. And it looks like he's gone back to play again, and that could be unplayable or out of bounds. Story, Richard?
No, well, it wasn't out of bounds, it was unplayable. Now he's going to drop it, and it's going to plug. So he knew that was going to happen, but he's in one of those situations now where everything is racing really quick now.
Hasn't even cleaned the face of his club. Actually rather harder the second time when he plugged. It was on the flat ground.
Well, the ball he found wasn't in the hazard. So he has gone into the bunker and he's played the wrong ball, or he's picked the wrong ball out of the rough, obviously. It's all...
This is horrific.
Oh, Robert, you know what they're feeling now.
So what's going to happen now, Richard?
Well, even the referee doesn't, I don't think, knows what's going to happen. Hang on, let me get nearer.
He's played the wrong ball anyway. That's going to be a penalty, whatever happens.
Well, it is the fact that the ball wasn't in the hazard to start with, and then he's declared an unplayable, so then that becomes the wrong ball once you play it out of the bunker.
Extraordinary mistake, because he always puts green clover leaves on his ball. It's always been his way of marking, and must have had a look at it. This is a compounding and ongoing saga. Of course, in another funny sort of way, if he'd actually turn around and say, well, I think it's a lost ball, and go and play it, then it wouldn't have mattered, but he thought it was his own ball.
Well, the latest is we still can't find it. Funnily enough, I was just actually trying to look for it myself then.
Well, the net result, I suppose, is if they don't find it, then it becomes a lost ball.
How long have we got left?
But then Robert's right with a penalty for playing the
wrong ball.
wrong ball in the bunker.
So instead of playing 4, we're playing 6 from sand. You can always declare, you don't have to look for 5 minutes, you just declare it lost.
Which really was the start of Harrington's problems today. Bogey 6 there, but the problems are going on over at 16. Finally, We're into the last 10 minutes of this horror film. I think it's possible that could be a 5. Said earlier, you can't play the wrong ball in a hazard. So even if you picked that ball up and dropped it, the bunker is classed as a hazard, so that wouldn't be a penalty shot. And then he got down in 2 from there.
Could well be right, but it does seem very strange.
John, a pretty complicated incident involving Darren Clarke there. Can you tell us what went on?
Yes, Darren obviously thinned his ball out of the bunker on 16, and he declared his ball unplayable. What he thought was his ball unplayable, and he walked back to the bunker, dropped it into the bunker, played it out of the bunker, and then noticed upon lifting the ball on the putting green that it wasn't his original ball. At that stage he called for the referee to assist him, and unfortunately was given some erroneous information that he could go and find his original ball, and didn't find it within the 5-minute period, so he came back to the bunker and played again from the bunker. But the correct ruling should have been that as soon as he dropped the ball in the bunker the first time, that became the ball in play and the original ball was lost. So he should have continued play with that ball. But it was further complicated by the fact that on the tour we have a special rule which permits players to only use balls of the same type during the entire round. So that ball that he dropped in the bunker, if it was a different type of ball, for instance, if it was a Pro V1 and he was playing a Pro V1X from the first tee, that would have been a further penalty. So that's why I was here at the 18th, just to make sure that was not the case. And in fact, it turns out it was an identical type of golf ball he was using.
So the end result is Darren Clarke has scored 5 on that hole.
That's right. Very complicated, Tim, but in the end, he's scored 5.
Well, thanks for explaining it to us.
Not at all.
I'll tell you what, John, we'll go on holiday for a week and you can explain that again and I might be able to understand it at the end. It was an unbelievable happening over there at 16, and we heard from Richard Boxall at the time. We all had a chat about it here. The good news is it's only 2 drop shots,